Hi, everyone. This is Carmen Denisco, and we are with See You at 6. I have my co-host, the man in crime, the entrepreneur extraordinaire, Mr. Chris Shire, with me. Hey, Chris, you up there?
Hey, Carmine, I'm here.
How's it
How you
going?
doing? We're keeping warm over there?
Trying to keep warm here in December. I am in Clearwater, Florida, for all you listeners, and down here, it's weird. The weather does change. It gets a little cool in the winter, and sometimes we get to venture and hit some coffee shops, but not like up north. And when you're up north, you want that hot coffee. You want to be able to sit in those coffee shops, and that's kind of what we're talking about today. Chris, where are you at? Give us a little rundown where you're sitting this.
I'm having my coffee here at the First Village Cafe in Ossining, one of my favorite. I call them my top 10, but they're exploding into way more than that. Today, I was in the area passing by, and I decided this is a great day. It's cold out. Come sit, have coffee, and have a meeting with you. And
We were talking some of our quick feeder shows. We were talking about how cool it is that a lot of little villages, little shops, in the suburbs of New York City have these cool little boutique type coffee shops, and they all have an atmosphere of their own. And it's kind of like people travel around to the coffee shops to find one that kind of fits their attitude or their atmosphere or how they like to have their coffee, and then they settle into that. Is that kind of what you're noticing even in First Village?
absolutely. I'm amazed at certain people that come in. I was here when I first stumbled onto it probably 3-4 months ago. I happened to be also at a store here in Ossining, and I bumped into a police officer's old friend, and he said, I know you're doing something with coffee. I see all over Facebook. He said, have you tried First Village? I said, it's funny you mentioned that. It is on my list. I was there. So I have been drawn back to it simply because I love the atmosphere. I love the way the owner, who I've met, draws people to this place, and the coffee is considered one of the top roasted coffees in this area.
That's fine. Now you don't strike me as a one of those guys that gets his coffee with all different kinds of stuff in it and these different kinds of drinks. Do you just get coffee when you go?
I do, Carmine, because one of the big things I did when I was back in the day, when I was doing a fitness program promotion, getting heavy, promoting restaurants, I needed to find something that was better for me, would curb my appetite. I never thought of this type of coffee because it always had the reference of pompous people.
Mark's doctor gets real-time information to prescribe the most effective, lowest-cost medication. United Health Group is working behind the scenes to ensure quality and savings. So, Mark saved.
We're still rolling?
Yeah, now we are.
So the idea that coffee is for an upper class or a pompous people don't like the taste, that's fine. I've acquired it. I acquired it through default of that. I really needed to try something that would soothe hunger cravings and level me out. Who would think coffee? I see all the other stuff, and I try different things, but I'm very health conscious, and I like that my coffee does what I need it to do for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's something that no one really I ever really noticed. Having the health aspects of coffee, being able to curb your appetite. They talk about that coffee, having 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day can be healthy for you, but I never put it together that it could curb your appetite and lay you over so that you don't overeat or worry about that. And I always drank coffee. Not always. I started in my mid-30s drinking coffee, and it was one of those things that I did find that it tied me over long enough until later on the evening when I was going to have dinner. I thought it was a great little bridge.
Yeah, bridge is a good word, because I was always a 1 coffee a day, barely ever finished it. I just needed that morning taste. Then over the years, when I had to stop drinking a lot of coffee, I couldn't have the creams, I couldn't have anything. I had a hiatal hernia from being out of shape. I finally took charge of my health and my fitness. By doing that whole production, I lost 50 pounds. I can drink any coffee I want. Right now, I'm enjoying just having and not having a craving for any sugars. I have no craving. Because of the flavonoids taste in my mouth, I can see those cupcakes that I used to love and have no desire anymore. My claim to fame, my tagline is, the only thing I miss is the cravings.
There you go. That's awesome. You know, I love this, the first coffee shop you picked. I think it's a great, you know, Austin, New York is so full of history. It's right on the Hudson River. I don't know if a lot of our listeners know, depending on where you live in the country, Sing Sing Prison is in Austin, New York. I mean, you're probably right down the road from the prison, right?
That's right. And believe me, one of the things I was a little skeptical about is when I heard about this coffee shop, I said, that's an interesting area for it. I have to check it out. Turns out a friend of mine from years ago owns a salon a couple of doors up. And there's a restaurant I used to go to all the time that I used to promote. Over the years, little shops like this popped up. And all of a sudden, you're drawing from Briarcliff and the surrounding areas. Yes, the Hudson's right there. I mean, I can literally grab a cup of coffee on a nice warm Sunday morning and go right to the water, which I can see from the front door. What I do enjoy is sitting out front and just watching and seeing people walking around. It's really, really it turns out to be a great spot for what the owner did here. And the coffee is amazing.
Wow, that's so cool. I mean, knowing that the owners are passionate about what they do, it just seems like their heart goes into it, and it shows with not only the coffee and the placing, but the people that come in. I mean, it's so, you know, you kind of think of it as an olden day towns where everybody knows everybody when they walk in, and, you know, everybody's talking. What I found in some of these little boutique coffee shops is so cool about the people that you meet. It's just kind of fun.
Oh my God, yeah. The people that are coming to this, I always thought of it, they would be more of a Pampas style people. It really isn't. They know they want to enjoy their atmosphere. They want to enjoy their coffee. Maybe they don't want such a commercial feel because Starbucks isn't far. People go to Starbucks. Dunkin' Donuts is a revolving door in and out. It's not a sit and enjoy the coffee, really absorb the flavors of it. And for years I did that, grab my coffee and run, and keep going, trying to get it all down and finish it. This is a whole different lifestyle, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually going to take some beans home today.
That's cool. You know, not trying to stereotype, but you've owned a construction company since your high school days. You've always been an entrepreneur. And, you know, everyone has pictures of, you know, construction guys standing around drinking coffee all the time. I don't stereotype at that, but is that kind of where you got your first go at the whole coffee thing?
Absolutely, Carmine. One of the biggest, I keep a picture on my phone. I'll show you sometime. I used to play coffee boy, go out and get the guys coffee so they keep working. I show up on the job. I watch what they're doing. I don't want them running out. I'll run out. And it's always Dunkin' Donuts. It's always a box of donuts and a box of the Joe coffee. And I watched and I said, that's how I used to be.
Wow.
3 or 4 maybe sometimes in the day because they didn't finish the donut.
Wow.
There's an idea of that when you're taking a break, you got to keep eating that because your body's going to work. You try a strong, good coffee that the flavonoids and get yourself used to the fact that this is all I need. Big difference for me. I mean, night and day difference as far as my whole lifestyle.
That's so cool. Very cool. So let's go back. Let's talk a little bit about the shop that you're in. And you had said that you picked a certain time to really sit in there because it does get crowded. There's certain days and times, you know, say somebody was visiting Ossining and they wanted to go to First Village. Is there a good time, bad time, or basically just go in and see who's there?
Basically, what's nice about this one, it's a lot of turnover where people come in, they sit, they do their business, they do some computer work. I was here the other day, there was a gentleman behind me at the table, and he was at least, he was just glued to what he was doing and didn't stop. But for the most part, I've never not gotten a seat, and I've come at all times. You'll have those insurges of people. Ironically, another coffee shop opened up around the corner that is by the high school. So that takes the influx of kids right there. They don't have to walk down the hill, come to this place. So there's always a good offset to have another coffee shop in the area, especially when the kids come out of the school and they want to have their lattes and they enjoy hanging out. These small places, as you can see, it's got plenty of seats and couches in the back, in the front of the store, table outside. I find that this is more geared for the professional, for the mother that wants to sit and have her coffee and enjoy, really unwind themselves is what it is. It's a vibe that works.
That's funny. I've noticed some of the coffee shops that I have some meetings at, which I love doing. I love, it's so much nicer to meet than in an office or office setting. Hey, halfway, I'll meet you halfway. Is there a good coffee shop close by, or do you know one? It's so nice to get that information. What I've noticed is that I've seen a lot of kids or little setups where kids can play and parents are there and a mother's there and their kids are playing and the mother is kind of relaxing. Is that this kind of ability in this first?
Yeah. Fiona Lewis set it up in the back, right in front of me, and it's really very cool because the other day while I was sitting, two little kids were in the back playing. They had their little desk. The father came back to check on them. He was sitting two tables over, and I was just sitting in amazement watching these kids enjoy themselves. But more importantly, the friend that the father was meeting, they got to just intermingle and talk. And the kids just got so into all these little games I see and all these fun things that I said, what a great idea to keep kids occupied while you get an hour to yourself. Even a half hour is important. That's what I do. I look for a way to release and go unload. My time is important, but this part I notice for the people with the kids gives them more energy, not only drinking coffee, to move forward with their day, get rid of frustrations and stress.
That's cool. There's so many benefits that we're going to touch on this show. I mean, we've already hit on like all these different benefits, health benefits, psychological benefits, curbing appetites. And here we are just saying it's coffee. If our listeners they're tuning in going, what are these guys talking about? But coffee is it's just a huge subject. I mean, I know that when I spoke with some people about kicking this podcast off, their eyes all lit up. At first they didn't get it. And then all of a sudden it hit them like a ton of bricks that there's so many aspects of what we're going to be touching on.
Oh my God, it's so important too, because you saw me years ago. You've known me a long time. And when I blew up, my face was big. I was having so many problems health-wise. If I didn't have the big Tums in the house, and every day I had to have those Tums, sometimes twice a day, knowing it's bad for me. When I finally found that the benefits of coffee and the benefits of the beans, I said, wow, this is an easy way for me to actually enjoy the journey of losing the weight was the big one. Plus, look, I'm so relaxed. I'm like so looking forward to what am I going to do the rest of the afternoon. And that's the best part of this that people need to know. You don't have to enjoy that soda to think it's going to help you through the day, or them 2 donuts or that cupcake. It's just not the right way to do it. This works. And I hope people will try it and come to these places and enjoy and unwind their life.
Yeah, that's cool. And for any of you listeners, go on out to seeyou@6.com and you'll see Chris's story from, where he changed his dietary. Because Chris, you never really dieted. You just kind of changed your habits, right?
That's correct. What I did was, number one is create a winning attitude. That stress is not my enemy. Stress is my friend. I built negatives and took them to positives. I used that stress in the beginning, promoting restaurants, going out with big business people, eating anything I wanted. Yeah, whatever, bring it over, more drinks, more. Watching the scale, watching what I was doing to myself, watching other people. So people said, you weren't that overweight. Well, when I show you before and after, you'll see what my whole plan was. The way I lost it was exactly that. I found this, and I found a way to make my taste buds and my body adapt to that I don't need it. And the weight came right off. Actually, pretty quick, too.
Wow. That's awesome, man. I mean, having that plan and sketching it out, knowing that you're going to achieve this or how you're going to achieve that is pretty cool. I think that it's awesome. And again, for any of you listeners or viewers, gone out to see it, CRSproductions.com, and go through Chris's story. It's actually pretty interesting on how he achieved this, because again, you are still running your businesses, you're still doing these things, but you're being able to run them more efficiently. I mean, it feels like, man, you are going all the time now.
The spike of energy, I always say, put me back in my 20s. I started when I turned 50. I don't celebrate birthdays in a way of getting older. How much fun is that? Getting older and doing what we do to our bodies. So I started counting backwards every birthday, and I figured, you know what? It's a good mindset. Again, it's just a winning attitude. I don't care about birthdays. You can't help them. They're coming anyway. The ailments, the problems, they're all coming too. The body changes. I enjoy that now because I take it on. What I needed was something for me, and this is what did it for me. The passion of what I watched other people do. Instead of going through an Italian restaurant, I was down at Carmine's in Manhattan last year, and I'm watching what everybody's eating, and I'm going, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that. Wait a minute. I can have anything I want. I'm in shape. I can have whatever I want. I didn't want it.
Wow.
I grabbed for a nice protein meal and a cup of coffee, and I was fine. Pretty amazing.
It is amazing. And that's kind of, again, what sparked this whole journey that we're going to take on different coffee shop, because I love that we are going to be promoting and talking about things that are actually helpful. Now, we know that the coffee shops sell all kinds of foods and do different things, but they also sell, most of them, some kind of healthy alternatives like almond milk or coconut milk, and they probably have apples and fruits and things like that. Does First Village have these type of things?
Yes, and that's important in the coffee business, because people don't realize when the average cup of coffee is $3 to $4, it's a lot of money. But is it a lot of money when they have to sell such volume to make money, to keep the lights on, to keep the place rolling? And, that's understandable in any business. Owning my own business, I've always known what it takes to operate and keep it going. By bringing in the other stuff, the healthy stuff, just the croissants for the people that want their croissant in the morning. I actually saw someone eating a bagel. I didn't know he sells bagels.
Wow.
They're very important, because when someone sits down and they're talking, they really want to put something in their mouth with their coffee. So you'll see that it's one of the motifs of a coffee shop to actually have good stuff in it, especially fruits and cereals.
Oh, wow. Have you seen through your travels, and I know that you've visited coffee shops throughout, the New York City and suburb area and other places, obviously. Do you see that there's different styles of food, or that, like you said, most of them have to sell it, not have to, but they want to? It's a good margin builder. And I would ask anybody to patronize the coffee shops, not just for the coffee, and try to help them stay in business. But do you see different types of foods, or they're kind of basically all stay in the same realm?
No, the beauty is what we'll be touching on is certain places that people are driven to. They're driven to for their acai bowls, which are loaded with fruit, loaded with calories, but something that's your breakfast, and you should really get those calories at your breakfast if you really want them. They're loaded with granolas. There's so many fruits in them. And fruits have a lot of sugars, let's face it. Doesn't matter. You're having your great cup of coffee or your latte. You're enjoying your acai bowl. I can't eat an acai bowl in full without my stomach being overloaded. So I like when they have the smaller granola and yogurt. And I'll eat that. I always reach for organic because I'm big on that. But when I can't, I know I've transformed my body to where I can actually enjoy anything, but I will only eat it if I enjoy it. There's no reason to eat it for the sake of eating it, or to, what everybody calls a comfort food. There's no such thing as a comfort food. Food's not your friend. Enjoy a cup of coffee with a smaller meal.
Wow. That's really, I like how you say that. You're exactly right. I mean, we do it for fuel, enjoying a cup of coffee and some talking with some friends and hanging around in a fun, nice place. I mean, that is kind of what it's all about. But really being knowing what you're doing, knowing what you're putting in your body is so important. And kind of what's really exciting about this show is, as we talked about, we're going to touch on so many things. Now, I know that you travel into the city a lot for your production, your entertainment business. Are there any favorite coffee shops in the city that you frequent?
It's unending. Once I learned, all my life I wanted to ride bicycles through the city, and I'm a big bicycle rider. Once I got it down to a science to figure out how to use the bike lanes and follow the delivery boys, I find coffee shops all over. And it's really easy in the city because just put in Starbucks, put in Dunkin' Donuts. They're all around it. And couple of them, we have Joe's Coffee. We have the Gray Dog. We have Corvo. I ran at Gregory's. I had a great meeting with a woman there from Shape Magazine who I do business with. I never even heard of Gregory's. She told me it's on such and such a street. I rode 40 blocks up Broadway. 40 blocks. And I went, I would have never been able to do this with a cab or a car because I would have been late. I rode 40 blocks and I was on time. And I got to be honest with you, going back, my car was over on Lafayette where the recording studio is, where I'm used to parking in a garage, an outdoor garage, and I could put my bike on the rack or take it off. That 40 block, I took my time coming back and went all different bike routes.
Wow.
Every time I turned, I have a list of coffee places. I had to stop, take a picture, do a selfie in front of it, and put it on my list of invite people coffee shops I'm going to invite.
Yeah, that's something that's great about, Manhattan, is that to be able to do that. And these are world-renowned coffee shops, but because, there's so many, or New York is so big, that you don't really notice it unless you're right in front of them, because most people, if they're driving in a car, driving in a cab, they're zipping through traffic and you don't notice them because most of them are small. But riding your bike, you're noticing everything.
I was blown away. I have to tell you, because now that I can get around traffic and maneuver, I had told you about Joe Coffee, which I actually found by accident one time when I was at a different coffee shop and leaving with my car, and I looked over Joe Coffee. I took a picture of it. I said, I gotta find that. It was over in the area of Canal Street. Last week when I was driving through the streets, going down the street to go to the Gray Dog, and I looked over and Joe Coffee, another little one. Little. I found the Bean by accident. I'm just riding my bicycle. The Bean. How did I miss this? Realized I took a picture of it the last time I was in the city, and I had it on my list. So I'm looking forward to the right weather and hitting them all, or actually one after another we do a shoot at, because those have no parking. It's all foot traffic.
Yeah.
Amazing how many people are in these places. Some of them you just can't get in. So I jump on my bike and I go to another one.
Yeah. I remember last time I was in the city, I wanted to go to Grumpy's, and I basically couldn't get in the place. It was, I walked by several times and the line was out the door.
And the best part of Grumpy's is it's right across the street from one of my meetings for the fragrance designer that we're promoting. And I come out, I always get to my appointments early. It's very important. Even though you think you're going to find a parking spot in Manhattan, forget it. Always plan to spend $30 to $50 and put it in the garage, because you're going to waste that time just trying to get one block. Put it in right next door is Grumpy's, and I'm just sitting there. And I'm watching the door, and I'm watching the line, and I'm saying, this is fantastic. I start taking all my pictures, and I say, and I always have to buy a mug or buy a shirt.
Yeah, I know, it's so fun. And you know, again, you live in New York. I did live in New York, and it's one of those things that we didn't notice until we got older. But any of our listeners, this is kind of why another reason we're doing these shows is that if you do visit New York or some of the states that we do some podcasts in, and we would love for you to check some of these coffee shops out. It would be a lot of fun to know when you go and visit these locations that, hey, there's a coffee shop I wanted to take a look at. It would be fun to make sure you mention if you come into some of these coffee shops, make sure you mention that you heard about the shop on our podcast here, because it would be pretty cool to get recognized that way. It's just so much fun. But there's so many shops. I mean, so many coffee shops. I mean, this is never ending for us, Chris.
I'm so glad that we're touching on this, because you're into fitness. I'm into fitness. We want to express to people how important. But I've, over the years, as you know, through my promotion company, put out a lot of different restaurants, different places people go. I have one of them in Yorktown, one of my favorite, of an old friend from 7 years old hit me, says, hey, I want to meet with you. And we met there. We met at Firsty's in Yorktown. That concept is what drove me. When I mention a place and people say, I've been there, or I love that place. On the side, I always pulled people aside with an instant message. Any negatives, please tell me. Next time I'm there, I'd like to let the owner know. Because if you don't, people are, of course, are respectful. They don't tell you, oh, I don't like that place because of this on social media. But I wanted to be the advocate for the owners. And the beauty of that is when people messaged me, I have no problem going to the owner. As a businessman myself, as a promoter, I promote the best in people. They got to know. If they don't know, that one chance of someone coming back is wasted. With the coffee shops, a lot of people are calling me up, saying, I want to know where this one is. I want to know where that one is. Or I was in the city, I saw Gregory's. How cool is that?
It's so cool. And that's what caught my excitement and experience when we started talking about this, is that there are so many coffee shops. But I love these, even in New York City, even Manhattan, the biggest city in the world, when you talk about a small coffee shop, it gives you that, when you walk in, it's like you're in this little town, this little village, and they all try to give you an experience. And that's kind of what I love about what we're doing.
Well, picture this, Carmine, the massiveness of when I had a meeting in the World Trade Center. The last time I was in that was in the rubble in 2001. Think about this. I'm up in the building. I'm waiting on the 84th floor for a meeting, and there's a coffee shop right there. And they radioed down to me, said they signaled down to me, said, we're running behind. Are you okay with it? I said, there's a coffee shop. Take your time.
There you go.
I sat in that coffee shop looking at the city. It was raining, taking pictures, and just absorbing the amount of what looks vast, but is really, you hone it down and go to these coffee shops. Everybody has their little spot. I only found the Gray Dog because of a singer who was auditioning at the studio. And one day when we were done with the audition, she said, come on, we're going to take a walk, go to a great coffee place. Can't even get in that place. It's so small and so great. People just in and out, in and out. That's what I'm really glad that people are doing, because if you're hanging out in Union Square and you're just enjoying the day and there's always something going on, you do a one block walk, Corvo Coffee, Gray Dog Coffee, Joe's Coffee, Think Coffee, the Grumpy Coffee. That's all I do. And I got to be honest with you. When you're in Union Square, you're not riding your bicycle. You're doing more walking your bicycle. So I do a lot of walking. The coffee shops are all right there. I enjoy it.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's just so, so important for people that are going to be visiting New York or these other cities, these other states that we're going to start covering, is to know, you could ruin your whole day by going and buying a bad cup of coffee, because you are going to wait online. You are only want to sit on, go down to Battery Park, or you don't want to go sit on a bench and sit and talk or sit in the coffee shop. But if you go to the wrong one, or if you go one that doesn't fit your lifestyle, it's going to kind of ruin your day.
It's so true, because you know how many times I paid $4.50 for a cup of coffee, and I went, oh, they should have given me a fresh cup. But for me, it's the vibe.
Yeah.
When I'm there, it was crowded. We were in and out. It's very rare that ever happens. And believe me, I'm the first to tell an owner, this is what you're doing wrong, or don't make this mistake. But I'm there for the vibe, so I'm enjoying my coffee. I got my coffee, but I'm soaking up atmosphere. I'm unwinding, and I'm setting my focus. I have a new focus for where am I heading next.
Yeah. No, what's good about, like you said, is the coffee is just a small piece, and everything has to fit together like a puzzle. The atmosphere is so important. I've been in some coffee shops that really doubled as a bookstore, and I was like, I love books. I'm like, this is the coolest place, I mean, sitting here drinking coffee. I'm sitting on a couch, talking, having a meeting, looking at these books. It looks like a library. I mean, there's so many different cool aspects, and you really get to drill down and see the owners, how they really foresee what a coffee shop would be. And all of them are different. And that's what really makes it exciting to be able to, push these things out and show people the different aspects.
Well, it's funny you say that, because one of my biggest things with business, when I was part of the business development committee for the Yorktown Chamber, I would drive a road and there's Dunkin' Donuts, and this is right over on Route 6, and there's no Starbucks. So now I start looking for it. It's amazing how many people were driving from Shrub Oak area, Jefferson Valley area, Mayapack, cut through Yorktown to go to our cute little Starbucks shop. So I wrote to Starbucks. I said, look, there's properties on 6. We wanted to want to put a Starbucks. Couldn't get them to do it. Corporate owns those stores. Finally, well, what you had to do in that area, Cortland, is go in the bookstore, go in Barnes & Noble, sit and have coffee. But they didn't open until 9.
Oh.
So now you're parking, going through all the books, going to get your coffee, dealing with the lines, getting back in your car, getting out of the shopping mall. Finally, Starbucks put one right on the main road. And though I didn't quarterback that, I'm proud, because I noticed Starbucks is missing the boat on this. And now I can go in that Starbucks just before I go to like Home Depot, Kohl's. I go right in, and I can sit down and enjoy it just like I'm doing right now.
Right there. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's so cool. It's so funny. Now, we only got a couple minutes left. What I wanted to, you think that at some point during our upcoming shows, we'll be able to get maybe the owner of First Village, maybe sit down and give us his overall view and aspects and what his vision is on the future of the coffee shop?
Yes, absolutely. I've already taken that next step to meet with Louis, talk to him about what we want to do, how fascinated I am that he put this here in Ossining and is drawing people to it. And he was all on board.
That's cool.
I didn't get to the sit down with him and just ask some questions. The person I met last week that was here in the Lotus, and I struck up a conversation, he told me all about this guy's coffee and where different areas and where he goes for coffee. So me and him are going to get together, and we're going to go visit another coffee house in Greenwich that does a phenomenal business, all high end. And I said, I'm looking forward to it, Scott. I can't wait till we do that. Let's get Louis on and have a meeting with him to hear what made him do this.
Yeah. I think that's going to be fun as we move forward with our shows, is, being able to bring in some of the owners or maybe managers or people and really get their vision. I mean, I know that some of the places that you're going to visit or we're going to visit they actually like they do their own coffee there. They, they bake, they cook their own beans. They do the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that's exciting, because while I'm finding down this way they're using this particular, there are coffee places that are selling to radio stations. One of the big ones that I can't wait to see how he roasts, and he invited us to come in. He's a little crazy before the holiday, but he invited us to come in and see how the process is done and see what he does in packaging it. That's going to be really cool, because I'm dying to see that.
Yeah, coffee's big business, man. It's no joke anymore.
Yeah, I have a lot of pictures that date back probably 3-4 years now of promotions. Everything's with me is an intent. If an area needed a coffee shop, like that story I said about Starbucks, I always took pictures of what I saw and what vacancies and where things would fit. And since I live in Yorktown, as you know, I was always out to get another one to come in, because we have Starbucks, and we just couldn't get someone to pull a trigger. I just learned from one of our coffee shops, our show we're going to do, he's in negotiation for a space in Yorktown. Wow. Very exciting. That's what I like to see. Entrepreneurs expanding their brand.
Yeah. You don't see too many coffee shops that expand to multiple stores. And because, the coffee owners, they're usually not entrepreneurs. They just love coffee. They love owning a business. But sometimes you get that good mixture. They're entrepreneurs. They really get a good store and thing going. And then because it's not easy to go to another store, or 2 stores, or 3 stores. It's tough.
That's correct. That's a big, especially when they're making 8 to 10 cents a cup. So they have to push volume. The beauty is 6.5 billion people a day are drinking coffee. So what does that tell you? He's onto something. And I'm happy to give the business and be there buying the coffee and soaking up the atmosphere.
Yeah, that's funny. And one of the places, I tell you, man, since we've been talking, they got a lot of foot traffic in that first village.
Yeah, it's a revolving door. It really is. Now everybody just stops to sit. It's actually sunny outside, and I noticed someone sitting out at the tables outside, 2 people that maybe just wanted to get a last vitamin D sun in the area. But yeah, this is amazing. He draws a lot of people over to this area. It's really awesome. Wow. The Lotus struck me the other day. I have to be honest. I'm like, oh, he's pulling over there. Let me see where he parks. And he parked over there. And he was like well known in here just because he loves his coffee. He comes over from Briarcliff.
No, it's
what is that?
Yeah. Well, that just goes to show you, when you start pulling people from far away, because as we talked about, there's a lot of coffee shops. When people start traveling to your shop, to your coffee shop, and you're doing something right. And again, you can't please everyone. These business owners, they're developing their brand for a specific type of people that love to come in, maybe relax, whatever that atmosphere is. And once you find one, once you strike on one, you really, you don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah, so true. So true. And you look forward to doing it. I'm a Sunday morning gym person. I have to do a spin class. I have to do my cardio. What's been happening is I'm so anxious for my coffee that I'm like, okay, when is this class? We're already 40 minutes in. I got another 10 minutes to go. I got to get to my coffee shop. And it's funny. Sometimes you'll see I'm driving north, south, east, or west because I'm like, today I want to try something different. Today I'm going to go see what's in this. Because certain towns are going to have certain things, certain great coffee places. So you hit the nail on the head. It's like, where do I want to sit? It's Sunday morning. Yeah.
And when you have, different moods, you have different coffee shops, like, which shop you would like to go to, the type of coffee, what you're going to be doing. Especially if you're going to be doing some work, you probably pick a different place than if you're just going to go and maybe talk or chat with some people. There's probably different places to go.
Yeah. Well, think about this. We're hitting you on your point. Mental wise, it's Sunday. I never count when Sunday is Sunday. I don't know what Monday means. Monday go to work, because I have programmed my winning attitude to be, well, today is my think day, brainstorm day. What better place than spend an hour in the coffee shop enjoying the time. Sometimes 2 hours goes by because I strike up a conversation. But the beauty is I leave here and it's, you know how Friday's the energy of everybody's weekend, but that's the weekend, and you have tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday's the recharge day. Charge your batteries because it's your day. We really don't have to do anything. So to your point, the coffee shop has done that. And I got to be honest with you. There are mornings where I just, very rare, I'm not going to spin today. I'm going right to my coffee shop. Of course it is 7 in the morning.
Yeah. You need to be able to do those things. I mean, and you're able to, because again, you're a regiment of, health, and you're constantly doing things, which, every once in a while you got to give yourself a little bit of, I don't want to say a cheat day, but you can't just constant. You need to be able to reward yourself. And that's what's so great about what you're doing. And, kind of what we're doing with the show. We're giving people the ability to pick a place, pick a coffee shop, something that's fun, even if they got to travel to it. If you report on one of these coffee shops that interests you, please definitely go on out to them, because I'm sure they'll have a good time going to them.
What I'd like to hit home with, Carmen, as we build this production is get healthy. There are so many ways to do it. I was the guinea pig of a life of always health, 3 gyms at my disposal. Why did I get out of shape? What did I blame? Did I blame stress? Did I blame the business? Did I blame running? Did I blame my kids? Those are all denial excuses. This is going to be geared to help people understand. Find your sanctuary. Go enjoy yourself for an hour. 1 hour is not going to hurt. If you're not an exerciser and you can't do a spin class, or you can't do a boxing class, it doesn't matter. Take a walk, go up a hill, go up a staircase, but find a mental clarity place. And coffee shops is what does that. For me, it works.
Yeah, I think it works for a lot of people, and the way you're looking at it is a different aspect. And I think that if people open their mind to different aspects and different things, I think they could certainly help.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, we're going to wind up the show for today. For all your listeners, thank you today for listening in. Please subscribe to our show so you get all the new shows, new updates, what's happening, where we're going to be. And if you can, go on out to Google Play or iTunes, subscribe to our show, leave us a review, leave us a rating if possible. And if you can, frequent one of our coffee shops that we're going to talk about. Like I said, we are going to be hitting the coffee shops all over the nation. We're going to start wherever possible, wherever the shows are. And with my co-host, Christopher Schauer, he is going to be all over the place on the best coffee shops in different areas. So go on out to CRS Productions or our podcast page, which is Meet Me at 6, and learn all about our podcast, what we're going to be doing. You get our show notes, and we'll be all coming at you. I think this is going to be a weekly show. I don't think we'll be doing it more than that, but our weekly show will be coming. And we appreciate any time, any feedback if possible. So for myself, Carmen Minisco, for Mr. Christopher Schauer, we appreciate you listening. We'll catch you next time on See You at 6.